Yes, the Ambale flood saga death toll goes to 22 as President Museveni warns on conservation of environment to stop such problems. A very good evening to you tuned into UBC TV. Welcome to News Tonight. It's me, Michael Jordan Lukomwa. And this is what we have for you. Elizabeth Nakakoni also joins for sign language interpretation. In Bali district, 22 people have reported killed by the Sunday floods so far. The remaining wreckage has also been retrieved from the running river, bringing the number of vehicles to 3 now and motorcycles to 3. Ivan Kahwa is in Bali and he has a detailed report to this.
At least 22 people are reported dead since River Nyabuyonga burst its banks, swept plantations and submerged people's homesteads in Bali city. Those living and camping near the river bank have been most affected by the flood.
We cannot say we have recovered all, because imagine by yesterday we were only talking about 10 dead bodies. By today another 12 has been exhumed and it's not yet over.
Security agencies and locals embarked on retrieving a super custom submerged in water. Upon getting it out, no occupant, dead or alive, was present. However, this is the vehicle where 10 bodies were recovered from, and it is only the driver who narrowly survived.
This accident happened before yesterday. It was just an abrupt incident whereby people never expected that it will happen. So most of them, they were asleep, and the others, they were also moving around. But unfortunately, rain came heavily. It was really heavy rain, and it has destroyed many things like the.
There was also a mudslide due to pressure from the river, of which it is believed that some people might have been buried underground.
Much as those ones in the vehicles have also lost life, but for us to recover them was easy, because when they were trapped in the vehicle, all of them died inside there. But for those like who are on motorcycles, walking on foot, who are swept, some of them are now seated in the seats down there.
Government is already supporting the affected persons with food and other basic necessities to get through this calamity.
For those families which are affected by losing totally their structures, government is going to look into how they can support him, at least getting them some pieces of iron sheets to put back at their shelters, but not in the affected area.
Flooding is likely to endanger people operating along riverbanks, but makeshift structures, schools, gardens are evidently present. All these activities take place in the presence of leaders who should discourage any form of activity in such areas.
We are only betrayed by some of our officials charged with issuing permits and also making environmental assessment, which government now has come out very strongly through its agencies, including us residency commissioners.
Close to 800 homesteads have been affected by this specific flooding, and as I'm speaking right now by press time, it's already raining, and there is no hope that maybe the situation will become calm anytime soon. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News in Ambale district.
Floods have claimed lives and destroyed property worth millions of shillings in Bali district just a few days after a conservation warning by President Yoweri Museveni. While at the interministerial conference in Kampala last week, President Museveni echoed the need for efforts to fight climate change related problems.
On Sunday, several people were reported dead following the Saturday night heavy downpour that washed away several structures and property, also killing over 10 in Ambale. The floods are said to have been caused after 3 rivers of Nyabuyonga, Namatsi and Namatala burst their banks and submerged, causing an overflow. In his last address to the country last week, President Yoweri Museveni warned against the likely effects of human action on the environment.
Our people, the majority of whom are already vulnerable and have limited capacity to adapt to the impacts of climate change, have continued to experience increased frequency and intensity of floods, droughts, and landslides.
His message on climate change and environment was re-echoed in the 3-day Interministerial Conference on Mitigation, Environment and Climate Change in Munyonyo. While officiating at the Interministerial Conference, President Museveni called for collaborative efforts in averting effects of climate change and other natural disasters.
For African countries, climate change adaptation is key in addressing the impacts of climate change at all levels, including addressing loss and damage and increasing the resilience of communities, infrastructure, and ecosystems.
Just a few days after his message on conservation and climate change, the Elgon region experiences a catastrophe that left many dead and property worth millions destroyed. Areas around Mount Elgon have experienced several effects of climate change and are still prone to experiencing the worst if conservation is prolonged. In 2010, over 3,000 people were displaced and hundreds killed in the heavy landslides that hit the districts of Bududa. In 2012, a similar incident happened, and later in 2017 in Sironko district.
In 2010, we had to relocate and resettle about 3,000 people from Mount Elgon sub-region, Bududa district in eastern Uganda, Kiryandongo district in western Uganda, after their home villages were devastated by the landslides on March 1st, 2010.
The National Pulse of Disaster Preparedness and Management 2012, however, lists natural disasters in Uganda as drought, famine, food insecurity, floods, landslides, mudslides and earthquakes, environmental degradation, among others. The 3-day Regional Interministerial Conference on Mitigation, Environment and Climate Change hosted in Uganda last week seeks to raise awareness about the impacts of climate change and environmental degradation on human mobility. Susan Naonga reporting for ABC TV.
The Forum for Democratic Change has decided to contest the results from the just concluded Soroti East by-election in court. During the weekly press briefing at FDC headquarters in Najanankumbi, the party's deputy spokesperson John Chikonyogo told the media that they are collecting information and evaluating it with a view of going to court. However, the Electoral Commission spokesperson Paul Bukenya insists that the election was free and fair and all complaints of election irregularities were addressed on polling day.
The NRM win by Herbert Ariko in the last Thursday Soroti East by-election, followed by Atan Moses of FDC, has raised dust, prompting FDC to task the Electoral Commission. FDC opposes the result, claiming their candidate won the by-election and are collecting information to go to court. FDC Deputy Spokesperson John Chikonyogo says the election was marred with irregularities.
Massive crowd stuffing, voter bribery, intimidation, imprisonment. We cannot accept the results of Soroti elections, which was declared by the EC. And as we talk, we are gathering evidence and evaluating them with a view of going to court.
He wondered at the purpose of opposition in the country in elections.
If they don't want elections, let them tell the world. No more elections. Let's have a mid-leg government and we'll move on.
However, the Electoral Commission spokesperson Paul Bukenya says the election was free and fair.
Polling day, the claims of ballot stuffing, the claims of abuse of electoral guidelines were responded to immediately. And we had about 2 stations that where there was chaotic behavior, where actually polling was disrupted and it had to stop. And then we addressed issues and we resumed polling and we concluded the polling peacefully.
Whoever says FDC has the right to challenge the NRM victory.
If any stakeholder, concerned citizen or voter, or for that matter, a participating candidate, is not satisfied with the conduct of the exercise or with the result of the electoral activity, they remain with their right to challenge it, following the prescribed law.
Meanwhile, on the issue of floods in Bugisu and Sebei, FDC advises government to transfer the victims to safer places. I'm Navka Farida and Robert Katamba in Najana Nkumbi.
Nominations for Uchimbiri County Parliamentary by-election have kicked off in Kisoro District Council Hall with 2 candidates so far nominated. An independent candidate who is NRM-leaning, Asgario Turiagenda, was the first to be nominated at 9 a.m. and the second was FDC's James Owebey at 10 a.m. According to the returning officer in the district, there are 5 candidates who picked nomination forms to compete in this race.
It was a busy day at Kisoro District headquarters as candidates for the Bukimbiri County Parliamentary by-elections were being nominated. The first candidate, Asgario Turiagenda, was nominated at about 9 a.m.
Declare Turiagenda Asgario duly nominated as candidate contest for election as Member of Parliament for Bukimbiri constituency in Kisoro District.
He was nominated on independent candidate, although he is an NRM leaning.
I am really very happy to reach on this day of nomination, and as Buchimbi people have seen my people here, they are really ready to support me, to push me, to make sure I reach in the parliament. So the journey begins now.
His candidature was even backed up by some members of NRM party, the MP for Kisoro municipality, Paul Buchanaindi, and that of Bufumbira North, John Kamara, and they defended their actions.
I wish to tell Ugandans and the Bufumbira and the Bachimbiri that the culture of Kisoro is that we don't have opposition, that every person in Kisoro is NRM, and himself contested as NRM during primaries. Things did not go well. There was a problem, we decided to become independent.
Absolutely sure that he's the best candidate.
Why?
Because he has the capacity to work with others. He's a very knowledgeable man, he's a very capable man, he's active, he has the drive.
The actions of the MPs did not go well with the NRM as affirmed by the party spokesperson Emmanuel Dombo, since they expect all party members in the district to support the flag bearer Eddie Kwizera.
I know the party leadership has been very lenient because of the transition from the movement system to the multi-party dispensation. And because of this, and at times because of the indiscipline that has been demonstrated at various levels of leadership. At SEC, we have seen it happen, and at Parliament, it has also happened. But I think it is now high time that the leadership of the party considers taking stern action in order to create discipline within the party.
The second candidate nominated was of FDC party, James Owebey, at about 10 a.m.
We are optimistic, we are working hard, we are strong enough, we have all the vigor to win this by-election and throw out NRM, not only in Uchimbiri, but also in Kisoro.
The returning officer, Kisoro District, Daniel Naeva, recommended the candidates for having followed the set rules.
Candidates are orderly and they have observed the guidelines we told them, because we said at the nomination center we are not allowing more than 20 people. I'm so impressed that they are bringing even less than 20 we had given them.
3 candidates, including an independent, that of NRM Eddie Kwizera and that of National Unity Platform, will be nominated tomorrow, August 2nd.
One Uganda.
Philip Aguta, UBC News in Kisoro.
State Minister for Karamoja Affairs Agnes Nandutu has hailed the communities of Napak and Nakapiripit districts who have opened gardens of sorghum, maize, groundnuts to address food insecurity in the area. She was officiating a community dialogue held in Nakapiripik district.
The State Minister for Karamoja Affairs, Agnes Nandutu, is currently touring Karamoja sub-region to gauge famine mitigation measures in the semi-arid sub-region. Nandutu commended residents of Napak and Nakapiripirit for embracing farming to avert famine that often ravages the region. She was impressed to see gardens of groundnuts, maize, sorghum, green gram, among others, yet in some areas people were even harvesting.
And I have seen very green gardens. I have seen very healthy cows and goats.
However, farmers expressed fear that in case the current rain stops, they might lose the little they have in their garden.
Stops now, like the way we're experiencing at the moment, then by October we might lose more people.
To say that normally we experience post-harvest challenges. The people really don't have very good storage technologies to enable them keep their harvest, that's the grain, very adequately.
Nandutu explains her impressions during the spur of the moment tour.
It's on the way you see people have opened up garden, and there's very nice looking sunflower, sorghum, maize. If we encourage the people to concentrate in the garden, we wouldn't be having this kind of famine.
About frequent famine situations in Karamoja, Nandutu and the chairperson, Napak District, John Paul Kodet, attribute the situation to their love for alcohol.
Alcoholism is becoming a very big problem in Karamoja. You cannot go to drink when you have nothing in the stomach, and when you move around, you see women carrying alcohol, taking to sell. Need for mindset change. That if you are hungry, you can sell your goat, or you can slaughter your goat and take some soup.
Talking about the mindset, few of them handful in the society, especially in my district, but majority of them are able to support, except Napak, all the animals, Nakichume. That's why we are concentrated, so that we can, the security can provide some security for them. So we hope that if the peace returns very quicker, somehow the animals, the product of the animals can support the people as we intensify on agriculture.
Some leaders volunteered possible solutions to end food insecurity in Karamoja.
Crops. Two, if we could be able to provide us the tractors open more than this small subsistence farming, you would see that we will fight actually hunger. These two.
That instead of going in the morning at a drinking place, please go to the garden. Because even if we open the land, the tractors are not going to weed the food. No. It's the person who is going to weed.
Karamoja should stop this thing they call raiding and causing insecurity to the area, which is detrimental to the development of the area.
While attending a community dialogue in Nakapiripirit district, leaders decried the emerging vice of land grabbing, security forces harassing people during this armament, among others as some of the drivers to the current famine in most districts of Karamoja.
That when you are handling security in the area, please involve everybody and work in harmony with the people, since some of them are even ready to arrest for you people and bring to you.
Carrying out of the disarmament that was recently carried through a cordon and search operation, some calm has been realized, and I think we have to be grateful to the security forces that were involved in this. At least we receive information from most parts of the constituency that at least there's some relative calm.
Nandutu urged the Karimajong to abandon guns and embrace government programs like PDM, SACCOs, and so on that are meant to empower them for better livelihoods and areas growth.
We tell our children, we tell our sons, the elders are here, I have seen them, and we say, Mayo, let us abandon this, since we are the ones eating our own intestines, and we embark on development.
Nakapiripirit is the food basket of Karamoja sub-region, but due to prolonged drought, insecurity and floods, residents were affected by famine currently ravaging the region. The meeting was attended by State Minister for Minerals Peter Lokeris, Area MP Moses Aropel, residents, security personnel and opinion leaders who also provided tangible solution challenges to avert famine and insecurity. Jethro Kasaiji, Maureen Iga, UBC News.
The Uganda Coalition Forces of Change, a rebel group, has intensified operations against the attacks on government officials and security personnel. Police have revealed that this group dropped threatening leaflets in districts of Mityana and Chiboga for near-future attacks. This rebel group was pronounced by police towards the end of last year, 2021.
The pronouncement of the Coalition Forces of Change in Uganda by police was manifested by the increasing attacks on security personnel and gun theft of the time.
You are aware that the persons who claim to be authors of these anonymous letters claim to be having an attachment to the self-styled anti-government rebel group, the Uganda National Coalition for Change. These are not new threats. For those that can remember, this is a rebel outfit that was dismantled in January 2022.
By the beginning of this year, this group had stolen 5 guns from police officers while killing some. In that time, over 20 people were arrested in connection to rebel activities.
Of the attackers. Yes, they were after guns, the ones who attacked our traffic officers in Luwero. They took the 2 guns, but we are still building up on the leads surrounding the theft of those 2 guns and the murder of our officers.
In the night of 31st of July 2022, this group dropped threatening leaflets targeting government officials and security.
But we're on alert. You're aware that the persons who claim to be authors of these anonymous letters claim to be having an attachment to the self-styled anti-government rebel group.
In the recurring attacks of police officers while on duty is connected to rebel remnants who want to acquire guns for their subversive intentions.
We know these there could be remnants that could be behind these new threats, but we are going to pursue them. They are sponsors, they are collaborators, and ensure that they are held accountable for these acts of impunity.
In the enhancement of officers' safety, police are piloting body camera project so that all officers are manned with these cameras for instant response in case of attack.
The demand for these body cameras is actually very, very high. And it will also help us with our policing operations.
Security has cautioned taxi operators on the emerging habit of faking number plates by robbers in Kampala Metropolitan. These are targeting people moving at night, using ladies in their nude robber tricks.
See this number plate, you may think it is genuine, but it is not a genuine number plate. It is just a sticker that has been planted. You know, you just make it and then you paste it, you stick it on. So you think you are boarding a genuine taxi. So our people who are out there take interest. Go behind and check if the number plate of the taxi that you are boarding is a genuine one or a sticker just like this. So that is where these taxi gangs have actually reached.
Private vehicles without PSV are warned on carrying passengers, which is inappropriate of their license. Traffic police is to issue express penalties to culprits.
So we caution everyone doing this to stop it immediately. We know the fuel prices have gone high. Don't use that option to get money for fuel in your car. That vehicle is not licensed to carry passengers.
Meanwhile, Immigration Office has confiscated money for over 200 business people who applied for inappropriate passport. These applied for diplomat passports, which do not suit their status.
Now, this group of Ugandans
who believed that they had some money and paid for this, I think we are sorry. We are not going to issue those passports. They will have to return and apply afresh for the passports that befits them, and these are ordinary passports.
The Office of Immigration arrested 56 foreign nationals over working in Uganda illegally. These include Indians, Chinese and Pakistan nationals. Abdul Nasir Lubwama and Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
Former State Minister for Economic Monitoring Peter Ogwang has tipped incoming replacement Beatrice Akello to intensify the fight against corruption among public servants. Ogwang was handing over office to Akello in Kampala today.
Recently, President Yoweri Museveni made cabinet reshuffles, where Democratic Party President Norbert Mao became Justice and Constitutional Affairs Minister and relocated the State Minister for Economic Monitoring Peter Ogwang to State Minister for Education and Sports, replacing him with Beatrice Akello.
You can say the NRM attempt has two-thirds succeeded to keep the Ugandans together.
Norbert Mao, swear in the name of the Almighty God that I'll be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Uganda.
Earlier today, the State Minister for Education and Sports, also Otuke Constituency Member of Parliament Peter Ogwang, has officially handed over office to his successor Beatrice Akello. Ogwang has expressed his collaborative work with the judiciary and State House, among other institutions, to improve service delivery to citizens.
What I did best, which I think must be put on record, I was able to coordinate and bring on board new synergies from other agencies within government.
Ogwang cautioned Akello to address corruption among public servants who embezzle government funds.
But one thing I've discovered, and I want to tell you, be firm. Whenever you go to the field, there are two conflicting interests. There are interests of reports you get which are tailored into one side, and they try to cover the other side. So before you take an independent decision, our investigators most times tend to take a side.
Beatrice Akello, also a Gago District Woman Member of Parliament, after receiving the instruments of power, pledged total service delivery.
I would like to commend the outgoing minister, my senior colleague, my brother, Honorable Peter Ogwang, and try with all my level best. Being a resident district commissioner, we have been monitoring at the level of local government. So with the little experience that I've gained for the past 10 years, I will add on what I will learn more.
Haji Yunus Kakande, a secretary in the office of the president, hailed Ogwang for his service during his tenure.
Towards you as you are moving to the new docket, I've seen you here since you became our minister. You're always a man of solving challenges, and these challenges I'm solving, you will manage them. Honorable Minister is coming, I also success.
I'm Ivan Juko for UBC News.
The need to come up with a database of alleged trillions of claimants of land by the Uganda Land Commission has been cited as a solution that will save and protect government land. This is among the recommendations made to government by the Committee on Commissions, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises while quizzing former Uganda Land Commission boss and Lands Minister Beatrice Biencha Nyakaisiki and Betty Kamya.
The Uganda Land Commission was established to hold and manage government land. However, the alleged mismanagement of funds need a database of claimants.
You try to establish and come up with a record of claimants on land issues in this country. Because, Mr. Chairman, this land question is ping-pong.
Stakeholders say Uganda Land Commission faces governance issues with a need to correct and update all land records and documentation of operations. This follows the payment of ghost claimants in the Endeavour Church and Lusanja land saga, where former Minister for Lands, Betty Kamya, ordered the accounting officer to initiate a supplementary budget for the claimants.
As a commission, we didn't initiate the 10.6 billion as supplementary.
And those funds were actually put on the account of Uganda Land Commission, which I don't control at all. I don't even know where it is.
According to the Bamgemerere report, there was collusion between government officials authorizing certain documents.
Government officials using their offices to give no objection, to authorize certain documents, to give evidence on oath that does not reflect the situation on the ground. We have cases of surveyors who have gone to court and claimed there are no surveys done on a Central Forest Reserve when there are surveys done.
The Commission noted abuse of criminal justice in order to enforce civil rights in the land sector, with claimants of land routinely charged in courts of law.
The Commission notes with concern that if the judiciary, which is the third arm of state, does not rise to the occasion, it will be captured wholly by land grabbers and other miscreants and used as a catalyst for untold social distress arising out of pressure and causing pressure on land, leading to lawlessness and landlessness.
Bamgemerere called for an urgent law reform on land matters to restore sanity in the land sector.
But we also do call upon the judiciary to find it in themselves, to look on the inside and review a number of judgments issued by the courts on matters of land.
Protection of persons and their property was also recommended, and protection of the rights of Vibanja holders and the fragile ecosystems.
That although the Constitution of Uganda provides for the protection of the rights of Vibanja, not just under the Constitution, but also under Article 20, Section 29 and Section 35 of the Land Act, these Vibanja holders are hardly protected by the law and by the courts.
The Commission of Inquiry into Land was set up to inquire into matters of public concern, did not take up a role of a court, but rather came up with recommendations on land. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
The Chief of Defense Forces, General Wilson Mbadi, has tasked the Special Investigations Branch Bureau in charge of investigating cases in the court-martial to speed up inquiries into matters for quick access to justice. He was at the ceremony where the retired Lieutenant General Andrew Guti was handing over office to Brigadier General Freeman Robert Mugabe, the incoming Chairman General of the court-martial.
Retired Lieutenant General Andrew Guti has handed over instruments of office to successor Brigadier General Freeman Mugabe, the new Chairman General Court Martial. The ceremony took place at the General Court Martial in Machindi. Brigadier General Freeman Mugabe promised to serve the people of Uganda and the Commander-in-Chief.
I, however, undertake to put out the best within my ability and live to the aspirations of the appointing authority. To the winning technical team of the General Court Martial, I know as a fact that you are the main effort in the execution of this task. I therefore implore you for enhanced teamwork, mindful that we deliver as a team.
The Chief of Defense Forces, General Wilson Mbadi, officiated the handover ceremony. It tasked the Special Investigations Branch Bureau to carry out speedy inquiries to address case backlog.
Investigative matters you mentioned about, so SIB, pull up your socks, and improving the terms and conditions of service. And this is generally being taken care of. And also we must constantly adjust our methods of work to suit the legitimate needs of the force that we serve, the UPDF and our country, Uganda.
General Wilson Mbadi also highlighted on the key points to be tackled by the incoming chairman.
We recognize that in order to strengthen the rule of law, to protect human rights and freedoms, and to enhance and maintain public confidence in our military justice system, it is imperative for us, both at an individual and an institutional level, to respect and honor the judicial office as per mandate of courts under Article 126, brackets 1 of the Constitution of Uganda.
Brigadier Felix Kulaije, UPDF spokesperson, hailed retired Lieutenant General Andrew Guti for his tenure.
In his term, he has handled, of course, high-profile cases that many of them, some of you know. There is the challenge of the interference of the civil courts, that normally some suspects come with the court decisions or orders halting trials.
During the handover ceremony, retired Lieutenant General Andrew Guti was appreciated for service as Chairman, General Court Martial, for 6 years. Over 300 pending cases awaits Brigadier General Freeman Mugabe. Among these include the one for the former AIGP General Kale Kayihura, former Command of Police Investigations Operations Unit Nixon Yagasire, the 32 National Unity Platform supporters, and the prominent court bail. UBC News.
UBC News tonight. Thank you so much for watching. At this point, we'll take a short break, but we have more. Please keep with us.
Vimba! Ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
Oh, Susan, I want to propose to Rose. Yes, and this time I am serious.
Have you guys had sex?
Duh, of course.
And have you had sex without using condoms?
Hey, nga you're curious.
I'm more concerned. Are you having sex with other people?
Hey, hello, is this an interview or what?
No, just things you should think about. Do you know Rose's HIV status?
Okay, this is serious. Should I be worried?
It is actually serious. Do you know your HIV status?
I think I am safe. Many times we get into situations that put us at risk of HIV. However, the first step to ending HIV is getting tested and knowing your results.
It's Time Up HIV. Call 0800-211-046 or text 8080 toll-free for more information about how to prevent HIV.
This message is brought to you by Ministry of Health with support from USAID.
Getting a birth certificate is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Get a birth notification record stamped by a medical officer from a medical facility where the baby was born, or from a sub-county chief if the birth occurred in the community. 2. Go to the nearer offices in your area and present the notification record, a copy of the parents' or guardian's national ID, and a bank payment slip of 5,000 shillings for citizens and $40 for non-citizens. 3. Apply by filing NERA Form 3 from NERA offices or download it from the NERA website www.nera.go.ug. A birth certificate will then be issued to you. Birth certificates to refugees born in Uganda are free of charge. This message is brought to you by NERA.
Enjoy more GBs for the same price on Airtel. Shareable using 2 Gabonais. We have increased GBs across all your favorite packs. Now, 4 GB is at 10,000 shillings and 10.5 GB at 22,500 shillings, all valid for a week. For the heavy data users, enjoy 24 GB at 50,000 shillings and 50 GB at 100,000 shillings, all valid for a month. Dial *175# or use the My Airtel app to buy these and more affordable weekly and monthly data bundles on Airtel, the smartphone network.
National Council for Higher Education will hold the 4th Annual Higher Education Conference on the 14th and 15th September 2022. The conference theme is Enhancement of Teaching, Learning and Assessment with Ordeal in Higher Education. The guest of honor will be the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Honorable Janet Kataha Museveni. The conference will be held physically at Hotel Africana for only invited guests and open to online participants via Zoom webinar that will be shared under the events section at www.unche.or.ug. The keynote speakers are Ezra Nazim, Senior Fellow of Higher Education Academy UK, Professor Henk Gerald Soler, a Dutch organizational theorist and Emeritus Professor of Business, Engineering and ICT at Groningen University, the Netherlands. The National Council for Higher Education is receiving papers from researchers and scholars for publication in the Uganda Higher Education Review, Journal of National Council for Higher Education. For more details, send inquiries to cmuhumuza@unche.or.ug, info@unche.or.ug, or call 0783 040024 or 0704 800926 plus 256 39 32 62 140/4.
Meet Professor Petero. He knows something every hustler in UG is gonna love.
Oh, see. You say I was just trying to get the documents to register for Airtel Money.
You don't need the documents. You just set it for register.
What's going on here?
He sells things from the shop, and behind my back, he gets the money and gives it to his girlfriends.
But just get Airtel Money Pay so that all money comes direct to your business wallet, and only you, the owner, have access to it.
Just dial *185 *10 hash, and now you are on. No waiting. Huh? This insanity is sweet. Give them also.
I only take Airtel Money Pay. It's easy and secure.
Yes, become a safer and more efficient cash-free business today. Easy.
No mixing your business money with your Kameza money. Now, that's efficient.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
BBC Business News tonight. The tourism sector is registering a steady influx of tourists from across the globe. However, Lilia Jerova, the Chief Executive Officer, Uganda Tourism Board, says that most of the tourists who are coming in the country are those who had booked for safari in 2020. This therefore means the sector players are yet to get significant revenue that can get their businesses back on track.
Uganda's tourism industry is on a revival path. This follows the full reopening of the economy after close to 2.5 years of full and partial lockdown.
There's a lot of interest, from within the country, but also internationally, on what the tourism sector has to offer. And with the numbers improving, we are very hopeful for more investment, both from government in the infrastructure, but also private sector. We are looking at some public-private sector partnership in some of the big developments, investment that we require.
According to Ajarova, the disruption brought the entire tourism sector operations to halt. She argues that restarting the sector and getting back into the growth trajectory requires significant resources, especially to the struggling private sector players.
We need to improve on the infrastructure, the accommodation facilities. We need a range of them, because we need to cater for the different segment of the market. We need investment in technology that will drive the digital aspect of tourism. We need to train the human resource. We need to keep up to the standards.
Although the country is recording a monthly increase of foreign tourists, the numbers unfortunately does not translate to revenue improvement for sector players. The Tourism Board says most of the tour and travel companies are reimbursing their clients who had made safari bookings for 2020. The Uganda Tourism Board is currently running a campaign dubbed Explore Uganda Pearl of Africa campaign. The drive is an invitation to tourists, both domestic, regional and international, to rediscover the magnificence of the Pearl. Marion Awori and Dennis Sigoa, UBC News.
Uganda Bureau of Statistics has embarked on a campaign to educate the populace on the rules and regulations that guide statistical production and development to improve the quality of statistics to inform policy. The Director, Legal UBOS, Pamela Kanime, asserts that following the right procedures in conducting surveys provides appropriate data, thus a proper guide for decision makers.
Bureau of Statistics has commenced sensitization on rules and regulations that guide in conducting surveys and censuses by individuals or non-government organizations.
6 months so that it can allow WOBOS to go through the whole process. Another rule is to ensure confidentiality of the information provided and also to seek consent from the respondent. The rules also recommends that if any approved survey or census, WOBOS realize that that person or organization falsified.
Sendono notes that there are incidents where more than one parties conduct the same survey at the same time.
It is what we call respondent fatigue. And this is a big issue, that today I come there, another person go to the same person, another person. So that creates respondent fatigue and failure to respond to questions and may lead to biasing the results.
Anybody or institution to conduct a national survey or census, they must follow the rules or be penalized under the UBOS Act.
It will be time wasting and wasteful of your resources if you go out and conduct a census and survey and we inform the government that actually that information you cannot utilize it. You know, when someone conducts a research, you want the result to influence policy. But if your research cannot influence policy, then there is no reason why really you wasted your time, your energy, and all that to go out and conduct that research.
Miriam Womcha, UBC.
During Q3 2021 to
Zombo District Local Government has been identified as a leading district in West Nile sub-region that has surpassed its target of revenue tax collection by 94% in the last financial year. The district was able to collect a local revenue of 1.2 billion shillings from 800 million shillings the previous financial year, and it was majorly generated from the local markets and the produce.
Being a food basket of West Nile and some parts of South Sudan and Democratic Republic of Congo, it has enabled Zombo District local government to surpass its target of revenue tax collection.
There's a lot of produce buying and selling. So they deal in a number of crops, bananas, Irish, beans. That one,
The revenue that was majorly generated from the produce and the local markets in the last financial year is worth 1.2 billion shillings from 800 million shillings in the previous financial year.
We are even expecting to improve beyond this, because recently we recruited the parish chiefs, and all the parishes now have the parish chief, and once they have embraced this and they have adopted the technology, we are expecting even a higher figure than this.
This has been attributed to the maximum support offered by Development Initiative for Northern Uganda project that donated motorcycles to reach the taxpayers by revenue officials.
I would like to again also thank the Dino team who are here by saying that as a result of your intervention, the district was able to pull upward from 68% of our local revenue to 94%.
The instigation of the integrated revenue automated system is also said to have contributed a lot in revenue tax collection in Zombo district.
We use now the phone, and the taxpayer uses his own phone to pay, and it is reflected on our system at the district level.
Okay.
So that one, if for example you're a businessman and you pay right now, it reflects on my phone, the phone of the car.
Ambale revealed all these achievements in the local accountability meeting held by the Office of the Prime Minister in Atiak Sub-County and presided over by the Minister of State for Northern Uganda, Grace Freedom Quinchwing. Joseph Okow, UBC.
Enjoy more GBs for the same price on Airtel. Shareable using to Gabonais. We have increased GBs across all your favorite packs. Now, 4 GB is at 10,000 shillings and 10.5 GB at 22,500 shillings, all valid for a week. For the heavy data users, enjoy 24 GB at 50,000 shillings and 50 GB at 100,000 shillings, all valid for a month. Dial *175# or use the My Airtel app to buy these and more affordable weekly and monthly data bundles on Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Oil and Gas Moment, brought to you by Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey. The oil and gas activities in Uganda are expected to create about 160,000 new jobs. Close to 70% of these jobs will
Susan, I want to propose to Rose. Yes, and this time I am serious.
Have you guys had sex?
Duh, of course.
And have you had sex without using condoms?
Hey, Nga, you're curious.
I'm more concerned. Are you having sex with other people?
Hey, hello. Is this an interview or what?
No, just things you should think about. Do you know Rose's HIV status?
Okay, this is serious. Should I be worried?
It is actually serious. Do you know your HIV status?
I think I am safe. Many times we get into situations that put us at risk of HIV. However, the first step to ending HIV is getting tested and knowing your results.
It's Time Up HIV. Call 0800-211-046 or text 8080 toll-free for more information about how to prevent HIV.
This message is brought to you by Ministry of Health with support from USAID.
Tonight, as action at the 2022 Birmingham Commonwealth Games enters match day 4, many Uganda teams are having a rest day but ahead of a tight program. John Barnes Center is in Birmingham and he has an update to this.
After 3 days of constant action at the Birmingham Commonwealth Games, several Uganda teams have got a rest day. Notable among these is the netball She Cranes team that returns to action on Tuesday against England. In a game, Coach Fred Mugerwa promises to be astute.
When we came to this tournament, we wanted at least to go through to the semi-final and maybe to the finals. But I think that is another hiccup that we got when we played against New Zealand, a team that we had expected and wanted to beat very much. But unfortunately, we couldn't do it. And I think that some of the few errors that we did, but I think we rectified yesterday some of the mistakes, and I hope that by tomorrow when we are facing England, we shall have at least improved on those mistakes, and we are going to, in fact, we're going to give them a very good challenge tomorrow.
The She Cranes have played 2-1-1 against Trinidad and Tobago and are optimistic ahead of the England game that they promise to give their whole.
Well, it's going to be loud and most of the support is going to be England, but since from our first game against New Zealand there was a lot of crowd, and I think like we're out of that stage whereby we are afraid of the crowd. I think the message to the girls just to be strong and to deliver the best of their game, and it's going to be 7-on-7, so nobody's going to be alone. We're going to keep the chat up as a team and just make sure we're doing our best.
The table tennis girls are also looking forward to the next round of games with hope that better fortune prevails in the singles and doubles.
I promise Ugandans that we are going to do our level best in the singles and the doubles.
Table tennis coach Jude Mutete says lessons from the team event will prosper the team in the individual category.
Actually, in the team events, the doubles were not so bad compared to the way we played in the single matches in team events. So I think in doubles, there's going to be a very good touch.
The England-based Ugandan fans that have made Birmingham a spectacle will hope that boxer Joshua Tukamuhebwa enters the middle brackets as the athletics team searches for more gold medals.
quarter finals ngambuzaayo omungende ku medal bracket nfiirawo ne coach ekyanjulira nfiirawo boy brother.
Thus far, the Rugby Cranes have improved from last time out's 12th to 10th, while a weightlifter, Davis Nyoita, is already out of the 55 category. John Barnes Sentamo reporting.
Uganda's national cricket team, the Cricket Cranes, have left for Jersey ahead of the final leg of the World Challenge League B. The Cranes were initially set to fly out on Friday, but were delayed by passport issues. The team left Kampala on Sunday for a long trip that will see them go via Doha to connect to Heathrow Airport in the United Kingdom, and then get a ferry to Jersey for a tournament due to the 14th of August 2022. Team captain Deus Muhumuza will be joining the side later on after late arrival of his passport. Muhumuza stepped in as captain for Brian Masaba, who is still nursing a finger injury. The Cricket Cranes, also pursuing an OD status, will be hoping to retain their top spot on the 6-team log to progress to the next round of the World Cup qualifiers. Sports Club Villa has, in its quest to increase its fan base, opened another branch, with the latest being in Entebbe. This branch follows others opened in Natete, Bwaise, Villa Park in Zambia and Jinja. The initiative was started by the Fans Mobilization Vice President Ben Emmanuel Misaga, who at this branch opening was represented by Remigius Katongoli. In his message, Misaga thanked Entebbe fans for setting up this fans branch and advised that they grow the numbers to meet standards. The club hierarchy is led by St. Mary's College Subi teacher Salim Zirimu and includes Flavia Jambo as secretary. The administration has set itself an achievable target of increasing the number of SC Villa fans and will start with youth, especially in schools.
Enjoy.
Come to the end of all we had for you at this particular point. We'll have a big arrangement at 10 p.m. news tonight. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomo with Elizabeth Nakakon and the whole team. We'll catch you then. For now, we'll leave you with Molen Kenyana, who has the weather forecast report here.